Good morning all, Stephen Rowlands here and welcome to Copy Time. I'm experiencing technical difficulties this morning, so I've started a little bit early to hopefully iron someone out. I'm just waiting for the lovely Kev Sullivan to join me, but the internet on my laptop keeps dropping in and out. Okay. And we will see how it goes. All right. Good morning all. Welcome. I'm just waiting for Kev Sullivan to arrive. I'm having major difficulties with my internet this morning, so I do apologise. Come on. Oh, God. Sorry. Just waiting for the lovely Kevin Sullivan to arrive. Hello all. I met Kev last week at Western-super-Mare National Spiritualist Church, or First National Spiritualist Church. So I invited him on to come and talk with me today. My internet has been a right nuisance on my laptop. Right, okay. So we'll see how we go. Right. Okay, come on, Kev. Sorry about this, folks, but this is the wonders of right. Kev should be with me any minute. Right, let's have a look. Good morning. Right, now I can see comments, and I'm really hoping that Kev will join me in a minute. Okay, I'll let him know that I'm on now. Okay, let's see if he's about. There's quite a few of you here today. Okay. Oh, and look, my internet's playing up again. I really don't know what's going on with this today. Okay. I go green quite a lot, Paley. Okay. But let's hope this sorts it all out. Okay, come on, Kevin. Where are you? What's that? Right, I've sent Kevin an invitation. Oh, there he is. Right, Kev should be any second then. I'm fingering crossed because everything's going wrong at the moment. Oh, there he is. Hello, Kevin.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm having major internet problems this morning.
Yeah, because it was all green and I can't see you, but that's not necessarily, it's all okay. If you can see
Yeah,
me, I'm happy.
I can see you and hear you. That I can see you on my laptop. I can't see you on my phone. I can hear you on my phone, but I can't hear you on the laptop.
How weird,
But
isn't it?
I have the laptop on so that I can see the comments. Okay, and we're back on again. So anyway, good morning, Kevin, and thank you for joining me this morning. Actually,
You're very
and
welcome.
lovely to see you at Western Superman last week. For those who
Yes, it
don't
was.
know you, could you just tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey and what are your motivations spiritually? Okay, and over to you, Kevin.
Right, well, I'm Kev Sullivan. I am a medium. I don't really class myself as a psychic medium. I don't know why, but just medium because I don't think I'm very psychic. But I know it's all part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
So I am now 56. I will be 57 this year, and my sort of journey started when I was about 18, actually. I went to see a medium, and absolute wonderful lady, and I didn't know anything about it. And of course, when I was 18, it was the last thing on my mind, really. But this lady she told me names of people in the spirit world that I didn't even know. And when I went home to tell my mum went white as a sheet. She said, "Oh my God, yeah." There was like 6 names and she could take all of them. She knew who they all were. And I thought, whoa. And this lady was I guess more of well, a general psychic and medium, because she told me lots of things, and over the years I sort of just ticked them off the list that she told me. And I thought, whoa, I was so taken back by this reading. I thought I'd love to know how to do that. And I must have had the interest anyway. And a few sort of strange things had happened to me when I was very young, probably about 3, maybe 4. I reckon probably about 3. My mum was in the kitchen doing the washing. I was in the lounge, and I saw this shadow, and it scared me, to be honest with you. So I then ran out to see my mum. That's the earliest memory I've got, and so from then, I did have a few strange experiences in my teenage years. I did, and so that you start thinking, well, perhaps I'm a little different. And I went to the College of Psychic Studies for just a day, and this was probably I don't know how old I would have been, probably in my 20s. And wow, what a place! It's you hear a lot about Arthur Findlay, but you don't hear much about the College of Psychic Studies. And it's very similar, but I was only there for the day anyway. And it was like psychic awareness. And I'd gone with a friend at the time, and it was just fascinating. I thought, wow. And the guy said to me, he said, well, when you get back to Bristol, find yourself a spiritualist church. So I did. And the first church I ever went into was Soundwell Road SNU Spiritualist Church. And they really, really helped me because I was in an open circle. And there was a lady there, Joan, and Jean or Joan. But she was quite strict, and I needed that, so that was good. And her daughter now runs a church just up the road, but that's another story. It took off from there because then I joined a closed circle, and I was obviously very interested in it, and I would, you know, it's once a week. You go in a closed circle regardless. You have to. That's sort of like an open circle. You just go to when you want. A closed circle, you have to be there. You know, so because people depend upon your energy to. It's like a constant energy. Then you can do a bit more. So I was doing that, and then I go into a couple of different churches, and I went to where I live in Yates, just across the road, literally, that there was like a town hall, and there was a medium who's still about, Dave Viney. He was
Yeah, I've heard
there.
of him. Yeah.
Yeah, good bloke. And he's doing his demonstration, and he says, he points to me, he says, I'm being told by spirit, you got to come up. I said, I don't think so. Anyway, he wouldn't let it lie. So in the end, I go up, and I gave a really good message to this little old lady. And so from then I went, you know, I started doing a couple of church services, and Soundwell Road Church, that the place that I first went to then, had me as their like cancellation medium, call it that.
Yeah. That's
They
how I
would book
started.
me as
Yeah.
well. They would book me as well, but I was so local, you know. So it was embarrassing, really, because sometimes I was there so often, you know.
Yeah.
Places get let down, don't they?
That's right. Yeah, they get fed up with your face as well. That's what I found. You know.
Yes, but I did my sort of training there, and no one really taught me. It was just what I was learning in circle and what I was learning on the job. So then I started doing a few local churches, and it sort of springboarded there. And in more recent years, probably about, I don't know, let's say 5 years ago, there's a lovely lady that was running a church in Rumney and in South Wales. And
Yeah, I know Rumley. Yeah.
and she got me in, and I gave her a really good message. Apparently, she tells me, and Linda Hood, her name is.
Yeah, I know who
Anyway,
you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, I know Linda. She's lovely. Yeah.
yeah, and from then, she recommended me to a couple of places. Before I knew it, I was doing all of South Wales, and
Yeah. Go on.
I absolutely love doing Welsh churches, and I do more Welsh churches than anywhere, and it just seems to be really, really. Oh yeah, I know the twins. Yeah. I know the twins very well. They're lush. That's so. And then just quick, lastly, in lockdown, um, I've been helping Melanie Calloway with her online group, and then lockdown happened, and really wanted to do more of the online stuff because people couldn't get out and I was missing doing it. So I created my own group, which is When Spirit Knocks, and it's really popular. There's not that numbers mean anything, but it's got an awful lot of people on it, and I go on twice a week like clockwork. That's the thing. I'm regular, so people know that I'm going to be on, and so every week now I do 2 lives a week, and perhaps a couple of churches. So busy bee.
Yeah. Whereas I'm cutting back now because I'm getting old and knackered. But anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah.
I do get some of that, mind.
Yeah. You're very similar to me. I came into the church when I was 18, or nearly 18, and I had weird, wonderful experiences as well. And I got a message from a lovely lady called Ada, who was a resident medium there, and she blew me socks off. So I started investigating it, but I realised that there must be a purpose to all this as to why I was getting these experiences, and you were probably the same as that, weren't you, Kev? But
Yeah.
and it gave me purpose in life, because we realise, I'm sure you'll agree, Kevin, that there's a purpose to it.
I think it helps you understand life.
Yeah, to a greater degree, and how things work, and how life works. And like you, I've struggled as to what to call myself, whether psychic medium, spiritual medium, whatever, and over the years on Facebook, there's been lots of discussion and heated debate on what mediums should call themselves. But I think you're right. Just call yourself medium, or I call myself platform medium, or whatever. But it is a journey of being and becoming. Would you agree?
Definitely. And you're ever evolving because even though I've been doing mediumship quite a while, I haven't been doing it very well for a while. There were certain things that I've learned along the way, and not necessarily things that people would tell you. Like, I think I might have told you this, Steve, but I'll say it again for everyone who's listening. I can remember if I was seeing something in my mind, like let's say a black and white cat, I would say, "Oh, you must have had a black and white cat," and the person would say, "No, not me." But if you say to the person, "What does a black and white cat mean to you?" Now it could be something horrible, like, "Oh, I was in a car that ran over a black and white cat," or my best friend's just got one, or so you must never presume, never presume. And that was a very, very big lesson for me. I don't know how long ago I got that, but what a huge difference that made,
Yeah, what I found is that you can get a piece of information or an image, and it depends on the person receiving their level of perception and how you perceive it as well, and how you give it over. What I've found is say it in a different way but mean the same thing.
Yeah.
So that you're communicating with that level of perception, and sort of like I've found sort of 99 times out of 100 they will be able to take it once you've found the right way of communicating. I suppose that's the same as what you're saying, isn't it, Kev? But
yeah.
you do have to have skin like a rhino to do platform work. I do know that.
Oh yeah.
But like you, I enjoy it, and but it's part of being of service to others. Funnily enough, I was saying to my boss yesterday at work that, it's my little purpose in life, apart from doing the normal, like growing up, working, having a house, having kids, whatever. this is my little gift to life. This is my little, it gives me a reason for being. And I think most mediums feel that, don't they? You know?
Yeah, it's service, isn't it? Because,
Yeah.
like I've heard you said the other day on here that you know you're not going to get rich, and that is so true. Because you know if you drive so far, you're going to get your petrol. That's it.
Yeah, that's
And
it. Yeah, yeah. I always tell people this is not a celebrity mediumship night. You know what I mean? I'm getting petrol money. You know, and I've been to work today, and I'm tired and all the rest of it. And I've driven however many miles. But I first started serving South Wales churches in the late '80s, mid '80s, and then through life and everything like that, it all dropped away. And then COVID hit, and I come into contact with Rumney and the lovely Linda. She invited me to do lives for Rumney Church. You know, probably the same as you.
yeah,
During COVID, and then when restrictions were eased, I started serving the church. But sadly, now I've had to cancel the South Wales churches because, you know, for me, living in Winchester, it's about 5 or 6 hours driving there and back, depending on the traffic, and you're only there for an hour. You
yeah,
know,
it's too
yeah,
much.
it's too much. And I'm 66 this year. I know I don't look it. Try not to laugh. And you know, and you know, at nearly 66 years old, I'm just getting way too tired, and especially if you've got work in the morning as well. You know, it's not good. So I think we mediums need to look after ourselves, and we need to do things according to our clock, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, if you're tired, you're not going to give your best stuff, are you?
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's just not going to happen. And that's the other thing I always want to say to people, you know, because I'm ever evolving. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a church that I probably haven't served for, I don't know, let's say 8 years. And they said to one of my good friends, "Oh, Kevy was a bit slow." Yeah, well, I was then. Yeah, I was. I totally agree. But you know, we evolve, we change the way we work. It is quite sad that you know people don't think that you evolve. They always think you're the same, but you don't. Like I just said about the thing I learned about saying, you know, what does an upside down seagull mean to you? You know, oh God, that was a joke that we always used to say. We were too posh that seagulls didn't plop on us, or you know, something like that. So that's an evolution, and it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. You still keep learning, and the way that you work changes. It's only in the last 6 months that I go direct to people. I've never done that before. So, you
Yeah, do
know,
you know
we all.
what? Yeah, go on, Kevin. Sorry.
No. I didn't know what else to say there, really. But we, you know, so someone might say, "Oh, don't like Kev because he was just throw it out there." Well, I don't do that anymore. 9 times out of 10, I go to someone now. So, but it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. I go to enough places. Don't get me wrong. I just find it a little strange that people don't think you're ever going to be different.
that's right. If they were spiritually aware enough, they would know that, you know, we are constantly evolving, not only as mediums, but as people as well. Because we're open to that. You know, spiritual development opens that to us, Kevin, doesn't it? You know, I'm always saying that, you know, you could do 99 services brilliantly. Everything goes well. Everybody's clapping and cheering. Oh, what wonderful evidence. Oh, you know, I felt really uplifted and all the rest of it. You do one bad one and everybody remembers the bad one. You know
That
what
is
I
so
mean? And
true.
it's true. I found that from experience, you know, because I've served churches for several years, and they're all clapping and cheering, and all of a sudden you're low, your energy's low for one reason or another, and it's a bit, it's a bit. There's a word for it, but I can't remember it. But they'll remember that one, and we don't know if we can book you again, and all the rest of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've I've done a church where I've been really ill, but I turned up, right? I've been really ill, but yet I turned up. And they say, oh, you shouldn't have come if you're really ill. But by the same token, if you don't turn up, oh, he let me down, you know? You
That's the
can't
one.
win.
That's the one. Yeah, he cancelled at short notice and all the rest of it. Yeah, I mean, I serve a church up in Blackburn, Connections of Light, and it's when my pneumonia kicked in. And like an idiot, I thought that the antibiotics would kick in before the service, but they didn't. All right, they weren't the right type of what's the name's antibiotics. So I went up there, did the service, and do you know what? I only coughed a couple of times during the service, and energies were low. It went all right, but I really, really struggled because the energies were low. My energy was low because of the pneumonia, and yeah, but it went all right. And I've found since I've recovered from pneumonia that it really saps the energy out of you. And right now, I'm currently building it back up. So a couple of services have been quite ropey, but and other services they've gone all right. But I'm learning the lesson. Spirit are teaching me to rest. And I think we should heed Spirit, and I think we should, try and go at our own pace. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, in hindsight, there's a couple of services I should never have done because I haven't been well enough. And, minor things, Spirit will actually lift that off you, won't they? So that you can work. But,
Yeah,
if you're really ill, like you got the flu, proper flu, or you've got, like what you're saying, pneumonia, that's serious stuff, that you
yeah.
shouldn't be working. So I've learned. But that's it. It's an evolution, isn't it?
That's right.
Constantly
And
evolving.
getting back to that point of evolution, Kev, people have got to realise that it's not only us that are evolving, or there are people within the spiritual world that reach a good enough standard to go out and do churches, centres, lives, whatever, but they stop there. They don't realise that it's a continual process of evolution because spirit want to communicate more knowledge. They want to increase our awareness so that we can do more. I mean, I was lucky because years ago I was taught to go direct to the person and not to just throw things out. Okay, but having said that, a couple of churches that I served, one of them was Linda Hood's, funnily enough. I forget where it was because that church moves around, doesn't it? But
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I was getting this information from this guy, but he weren't telling me who he wanted to talk to. And I'm going, tell me who you want to talk to. Right? And he weren't having it. Right. So anyway, I had to get up and throw it out there. And then this woman put her hand up and said, it sounds like my uncle. And then went on to give her a message. And the other one was at Woking, where this guy had, these super duper BMX bikes that are, it was a bespoke one. It was especially made for him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't tell me who he wanted to talk to. But, so I described him, described the bike, and everybody shaking their heads and all that. So I said, all right, I'll just tell him to step back. And then third or fourth message in, I went to this lady, and this guy shot straight in. And I said, I feel he's with you. And she said, yeah, I knew him. But I think it gets back to the point that spirit are learning to communicate with us as much as we're learning to communicate with them.
Do you know that the start of every service, I always say to someone, the audience, I always say to the audience, please, 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 do not come up to me afterwards and say, that message you were given over there, I could take everything you just said. I said, please stop me in the service put your hand up, get my attention, because I want to give the right message to the right people whilst I'm in the energy, you know.
Yeah.
But they still do it. They still do it.
Yeah.
Come on
I,
afterwards.
I think on one hand, Kev, that we live very similar lives, you know what I mean? And what we relate to one will relate to another one. But
Yeah.
also, there is also the teaching that spirit will kill two or three birds with one stone.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because they've got that short window of time, like 3/4 of an hour, whatever it is, an hour. And so they'll try and sort of like hit on as many people as they can. Hit on's the wrong way of putting that, isn't it, Kevin? But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
they'll get the message over and try and uplift as many people as possible, you know. But the direct evidence for that one person, you know, is bang on there. But you know, the rest of it, somebody else might be able to take in it. You know, so if somebody comes up to me and they says, I could take every part of that message you go to that woman over there, and I'll say, well, you know, I'm glad it meant something to you, because then I'll explain about spirit, trying to sort of like, you know, help as many people as possible. So there will be a little bit in there for others and all the rest of it. But I think you're right. Let me know. You know what I mean? I've never thought of it that way, Kev, so that's good. You know, um, let me know that you can take sort of like certain parts of that reading or all of it. You know what I mean?
And also, if someone does stick their hand up and say, because obviously, if you're giving a message to Joe over here, right, and it's you're not getting 100%, and you think, do you know what? I might not be with you, and someone else puts their hand up, right, perfect. However, if you are giving all the good evidence to Joe and someone still puts their hand up, sometimes I can go to them straight afterwards anyway, and it's almost like a bit of a shortcut, because you've given an awful lot of evidence that they can take, but yet spirit will still come through and give them a message that is relevant to them. It's like 2 for 1, I guess, but with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
different
And
different
I think
ending.
spirit do work that way. You know that. You know, two for the price of one. You know, I really think that spirit work that way. You know,
Yeah.
because they're trying to get their messages over to as many people as possible. You know, obviously there is evidence that can only be for that one person.
Yeah. 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 And
You
often
know,
I'll ask for something to separate the two. Of
yeah.
course. Of
I'll tell
course.
you what I've been finding, Kev. I don't know if you've experienced this, and it's made me work, because I was taught how to do this in Circle years ago. But what I've been finding is recently, and as we say, it is an evolution. You know, spirit are working their best to sort of like make us more evolved so that we can do more. But I've been getting a blend of two people, and I've been having to sort of like separate the vibrational energy out between the pair of them. You know, so I can give them an individual message from each one. You know,
Yeah.
because you could get a father and an uncle, or a father and a son, or two brothers, then you'll get in a mix of the two. You know, and it can be difficult to sort of like separate them out. You know, to make it more understandable for the person receiving the message. Have you ever experienced that, Kev?
Yeah, very much so. So you're getting evidence of, say, two different people, and it's
Yeah,
very good evidence. So you know that you're tuned in. Um, and sometimes that's good enough for the person. They say, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I know who you've got. You've got the brother and me other brother, whatever it might be." And they said, "Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you. I understand all that." Um, and other times, do you know my biggest problem is for me working is my energy. Because for those that know about like maintaining a link with the spirit world or sitting in the power, call it what you like. I don't think there's a medium on earth really that can keep going if they're doing proper mediumship longer than an hour and a half. I would say hour comfortably. After that,
Yeah.
it gets a bit ropey. What do you think on that?
Joe, I agree with you 100%. I once had the experience. It was up near Chesterfield somewhere, com something. I was doing a charity do, and they invited me to come up and do it. And they were going to do it in 2 3/4 of an hour session, right? And
Yeah.
have a break in between, right? Which I agreed to, right? And anyway, she says, "I'll point to my watch when it's half time and everybody's going to have the buffet and all this." But she was pointing to her watch standing behind the person, and I couldn't see her pointing to her watch. I went for 2 hours straight.
Whoa.
And the energy, after about an hour or so, started to drop and drop and drop. I'm still struggling on, and I can't see her pointing to her watch. Of course, the quality of the messages went downhill rapidly.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
and it,
also. Yeah.
you know, and then sort of like people were outside moaning and all the rest of it. Oh, the last hour and all that, you know, rubbish and all this. And about 2 or 3 people come up to me and thank me for their messages, and it was wonderful and all that. But what I find is when I do like these, I don't like calling them specials, but they're usually about an hour and a half, aren't they?
Yeah.
And some are more special than any other medium, you know. But do about an hour and a half. But I usually find after an hour things start struggling. It's only if you're lucky, and if you're in a high energy church centre or place,
Yeah.
you can maintain it. Because places like Connections of Light up north, the energy is so high, and you could be a house brick and give an evidential message. You know what I mean? It's that high. You know, it's like being plugged into the national grid when you work there. It's lovely, honestly. All right, I'll give you a recommend, Kev. All right, and get you up there. It's Blackburn, right? But
Oh, God, that's too far, man.
oh, come on now, I drive there. But there again, I do stay there for a week. You know what I mean? So I'm not sort of like, you
Yeah.
know, I do 2 or 3 places as well. But anyway, you know, it's such high energy and you can go. What do you think of this, Kevin? All right. It also depends on the energy in the room. It depends on the energy of the people sitting in front of you. Would you agree?
100%.
Because if they're all sitting there like that, like I'm not giving him nothing, right, and all the rest of it, always see if he or she's any good and all the rest of it. And you know, the energy's low. You know, or if they've just come and they just want a particular loved one, and you're not
Yes.
giving them that particular loved one, even though you're giving them a loved one that they know about, that they're aware of, and they can take, but because it's not that loved one, they're sitting there, oh, no, no, no. You know what I mean? That lowers it, and because you, dare I say it, your confidence is being knocked a little bit. You know what I mean? And you
Spirals.
know, so then your energy starts to drop a little bit as well. You know, because I'm always saying to people that spirit work on the energy of love. So if you know, if you open your hearts and your minds when you come in and you send that love out to the platform, you know, you're going to have a better evening because you get out of spirit communication what you put in, and that includes the people sitting in front of you, doesn't it?
100%. You know, I quite often, where I can, try and inject a little bit of humor where I can. And of course, if you're thinking about trying to be funny, then you lose your connection. But if you can
That's
think
right.
of, if something happens quick and it's relevant and it's funny, everyone laughs, that helps. That helps.
It
But you
does, because
can't do
if I try to be funny, I can't be. If I just
Yeah,
go for it, and I think spirit have a great sense of humour,
yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
and I think you know, I just let it flow and let it come out. And if people are laughing, great, because we're raising the energy. You know what I mean? But those that try to be funny, it won't work because that's scripted, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, the last church I did, I, I don't know where it comes from. It just comes out. So I said, right, please tell me either yes, no, don't understand, or Kev, don't look. You look young and handsome. It just came out, and
Yeah.
I don't even know where that came from because I wouldn't normally say it. And everyone laughed, and it started it off well. You know, that was
Yeah.
nice.
That's right. Just let it flow. Just let it come out as it comes out. I find, I don't know where I should say it. I find when I just sort of like just go for it, because I don't know what if you find it, Kevin, but I've forgotten what I was going to say now because I keep messing
Yeah,
about
but
with this
just
internet.
going for it because you know sometimes, especially because we're not supposed to think, are we? We're supposed to just pass over the message or the information, but we do think, and especially sometimes about how the way that we've got to say certain things. But if we can remove our conscious mind from the process, it will go just so much better. It will.
That's right. You've got to separate yourself from spirit. It's the old teaching, you know, be selfless in service. In other words, remove yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so that you're a clear channel for whatever spirit want to say. You know, and well, what I wanted to say, I've remembered now. Wasn't that good, right? But I just find that when I'm demonstrating, I'm a lot more extrovert than say. If we met in a pub now, I'd be, hello, Kev, you all right? You know, we'd just sit down. I'd be thinking that, you know what I mean? Or normal everyday
I know
life,
this
I'm sort of
is,
quite quiet. But when I get out on that platform, I'm very extrovert. You know,
yeah.
my extrovert personality comes out because the amount of people, including Julie, my girlfriend, said you change when you get on that platform. You know, and do you
I hope,
find that
I hope
you're more
everyone
amplified?
noticed that he didn't say, hello, Kev, do you want a pint? I hope everyone noticed that. No, but
Well, yeah, I
seriously.
was expecting you to say hello, Steve. Do you want a pint? You know, we might have to go
But
and rob
yeah,
a bank to do it, but yeah, never mind.
I
Kelly.
was always really, really shy as a child. Um, People don't believe it when I say it, but I was painfully shy. And I read this book one day, and just goes to show the written word, how it can change your life. And it said in there that if you want to be confident, just pretend that you are. And sooner or later, you won't need to pretend. And that really guided me through life. It was a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, I read it too late in life, but since I read that, I used to pretend, you know, and people would say, "Cool, aren't you confident?" And like they didn't know the half of it, you know. Inside, I was shaking like this, you know, but I would pretend that I was confident, and pretty well. I don't have to pretend anymore. Very rarely will I get a little nervous, but I know you should get nervous, but spirit never let you down.
Well, that's right. That's right. You know, I mean, I'm nervous most of the time, but not all of the time. And we have that trust and that faith in spirit. You know, and like you, I used to be very shy and lacked confidence. And I can remember first demonstration I ever did was with my circle. The medium arranged it, and we were doing a demonstration of general mediumship, and I had to do sand readings. You know, that was a Manor Park Christian Spiritualist Church, which is now Slough Spiritualist Church. But you know, I remember they gave me a cup of tea in a cup and saucer, which was a bit fatal because I'm shaking with nerves, and the tea was flopping all over the gap. You know what I mean? But what I found was, as soon as you know, it was time to give a sand reading, as soon as I opened my gob, the nerves went, and it was straight in it. You know, because that's what I find. if I'm nervous before a service, you know, especially a new place that I've never been before, because I don't know about you, but your reputation precedes you, doesn't it? You get
Yeah,
recommended, and they say, "Oh, he's great," and all that, and then you go there and think, "Oh, I'm not feeling it tonight." You know what I mean? But you know, it's you know, I just find no matter how nervous I get or how ill I am, you know, I open my gob and it all comes through.
yeah, pretty much. I walk into a church and I think, right, and it's almost as if I've forgotten how it works, and I don't really know because I just think, oh God, I better start. So I go to someone, and the rest I really don't remember until it's finished, and then oh, that's it. Have a cup of tea, and someone will come up and say, oh, you know, you said so. No, I don't actually. You know, sort of out of it. Pretty much. Obviously, at the moment, I know what I'm doing, but when that moment is over, I don't recall it really, unless it's something really stand out. You know, like what should we say? Someone kept a pig in their bedroom or something. I don't know, something really
Yeah,
outlandish. You know.
yeah. I mean, I like them ones. Oh, by the way, Grandad kept a pig in his bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I love them ones because you can't argue with that, can you? You know what I mean? But because what I find difficult, and this is just a personal observation of my own work, is like I said, people live similar lives. So, you know, oh, Dad liked to go to football on a Saturday. Well, so do millions of other dads, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I tried to get Spirit to give me the information that couldn't I couldn't possibly know or be aware of. You know, I like to find the idiosyncrasies with people. You know, the little habits that they had that nobody else, apart from that loved one sitting in front of you, knows about. You know, and you know, it's sort of like, well, once I gave a message to this woman, and it was from her granddad, and he used to wear his black cap in bed, and he'd sleep in it. Little
Wow.
things like that,
Yeah.
you know. But I like to have them that come through rather than Dad likes to go to football, you know, because millions of dads do, don't they? But
Mm.
you know, that's just a personal thing, you know.
Yeah, I'm very much with you on that. I ask for a golden nugget sometimes, you know. Send me a golden nugget because I want to move on, but I want to give someone something really good. You know, I need to be able to move on. So please, can you just give me something really good? A golden nugget, I call them, and they know that. And yeah, most of the time I will get something. I'm laughing because I always used to get some really random stuff, and that used to really set me apart from a lot of people. Really random stuff, and I remember doing a service with this lovely lady from Cyprus, Lydia, and what was it I said? I said, um, when was the last time you saw a mouse to this lady? And she could not stop laughing. Oh God, it was so funny. And I'm going to remember that day to the day I die. You know, there's certain things that you say. And oh, there was a lovely one, more recent actually. And I said to this lady, can you take a cat called Stardust? And she said, yeah. And it was like, whoa, you know, it was like, shut the back door. But you do
Yeah,
occasionally, and uh, I have had, but this names are a good thing. Um, I'm generally not too bad, and a couple of times in my time, I've got first name and second name together, which is, I guess, is almost like the Holy Grail, isn't it? But they don't
it
happen
is,
very
yeah,
often.
or a telephone number or a house number and the colour of the
Yeah,
front door, all that kind of thing. You know, I was always taught never to give names. So what,
Okay.
you know, because I can shout out and say, right, I've got a Mary with you, I've got a Fred with you, I've got a Stephen with you, I've got a Kev with you. Because everybody knows them names and everybody's got
They
them in their
do. They
family
do.
somewhere. All
Yeah. Yeah.
right. But
Relevant.
what I say to Spirit is don't just shout your name out, show me yourself. You know, so
Yeah.
I could give the name and I could describe you. There's one like at Slough where this woman said to me, because she's not taking a message, and she said, "We got any names?" So I said, "Oh, do you know a Mary in Spirit?" She went, "Yeah." I said, "I just made that up." Said, "Do you know on the earth, a John on the Earth plane?" She went, "Yeah." And so I said, "I've just made that up." I went through her three names and told her I just made it up. But the committee were sitting at the back cringing, you know what I mean, wanting the earth to swallow them up. And I said, that's why I don't give names. But having said that, um, this lady come forward, gave me her name, and I could see her. So I gave her the name and described her and all that, and who she was to her, like an auntie or something. And I said, that's how it should work. If you
Yeah.
just sort of like shout names off, but if you give a surname with it, there's no arguing with that, is there? You
No,
know,
I'm 100% with you because, like George, everyone can take a George, right? But
yeah,
however, if you've just described the person and you know got all the mannerisms and whatever, and then you say, "Oh, I've also got the name George," and it's connected, then that's wonderful. Otherwise, yeah, names don't mean nothing. You're quite so right, so right.
yeah.
It's all
So
relevant.
that's what I do. You know what I mean? It's like anniversaries. Everybody's got an anniversary somewhere, like of a
Yeah,
passing or a birthday or whatever. Yeah, or wedding anniversary, whatever.
yeah.
So what Spirit do with me is it's quite funny. If it's a birthday, they'll give me a blue cake for a boy and a pink cake for a girl.
Oh, that's
And
brilliant.
yeah, so that's how I can understand it. I'll say there's a birthday around you. It's for a girl, um, and then the spirit will come forward, or it's for somebody on Earth. You know, um, there's sort of like because spirit will communicate to you in a way that you can understand it enough, don't they? You know, like with
Yes.
the pink and the blue cake. You know, yeah, it's what can I say? But
Yeah,
one
quite
one guy
often.
actually come through and he said it's my birthday today.
Brilliant.
That's one of those little pieces of it. And I said, oh, by the way, he's saying his birthday's today. And she went, yeah. And she nearly fell off my chair. You know what I mean?
Uh,
That's like these little things that I love, like you do, you know. But, you know,
yeah, Holy Grail. Holy Grail, that is.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. You know, and you're sort of going, thank you, But, yeah. Oh, my
And
internet is, yeah, go on.
the same with dates, you know, if you give like the 2nd of March, you know, it it can be useful, but it's got you've got to be on the money really, otherwise you're just you do not want to be one that's just pulling stuff out of the air. It is a fine line actually, isn't it? And
I agree 100%. Yeah, yeah, definitely, Kev. Yeah,
because you
it's a
know,
very
like
fine line. Pardon?
people will say, take you can take something in July. Well, I'm sure most people can, you know, but you know, I'm not criticising anyone because I'd probably do that
No, I'm
myself
not
as well.
criticising anybody because
No,
that's what I was taught not to do.
yeah, it's
You
got to
know,
be.
because
It's a package, isn't it? What you deliver is your message is a package, and most of that package has got to be particular, and they've got to be able to take it, and it's got to be. And I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be honest. I don't always get stuff right, and you know sometimes I'd say, well, look, sorry, I'm just not with you. I just can't do it. Sorry, it does happen, doesn't it?
yeah, that does happen. It's happened to me, and any medium that says it doesn't happen to them is lying.
Yeah, I
You know
agree.
what I
Yeah.
mean? You could feel you're being directed one way and you got it wrong. What I always say to people, a little analogy I say to people is it's the medium that gets it wrong, not spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're interpreting it in a way, we're interpreting what we're seeing, what we're sensing, you know, and we can get it wrong. But that's where your attunement comes in, doesn't it? So, you know, say it a different way but mean the same thing or whatever. But go back to the communicator, the spirit communicator, and say, can you enlarge on this? Can you sort of like, you know, give
And
me what you're trying
also,
to say in a clearer way, you know? But you know,
people don't necessarily know about that person, because you might say, "Look, I'm sorry, I'm just getting that he liked Atkinson Stanley, right?" And they say, "No, no, no, no," and then you might see them again, and they say, "Do you know what you said about him liking Stanley? It was true." You know, it's weird, isn't it? So it's knowing when to stick to your guns and when not.
yeah, if spirit keep sending me back that, I will keep on it. You know what I mean? But there again, yeah, with public demonstration, how long do you keep on with it? You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know, because you've got that small window of time, haven't you? You
Yeah.
know, and then people can accuse you of trying to force that message onto the person and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
what my little get out, if you can call it a get out, I say, well, I'll leave that with you. You know, if they're
That's
not
what
getting
I'm.
it after 3 or 4 goes, you know, I'll just say, well, I'll leave that there with you. Or at times, you must have experienced this, Kev, is that they can't take the person, but they can take what the person's saying.
Yes.
You know, about
Yeah.
them. They can't take the evidence or anything like that. And they'll say, well, they know you. You know, so they're with you somewhere, you know. But what I found is, just like you'll see them the next time, say, oh, yeah, that was so and so. I remembered what on my way home, you know. But, yeah, and this is another reason you've got to have skin like a rhino when you're demonstrating publicly, you know. But,
It is, because you know, people expect you to be perfect, don't they?
yeah,
And
they do. Yeah, yeah. You might have had a bad day. You've had a long drive or whatever. You're tired. You know, you've been held up in traffic, and you arrive 5 minutes late or whatever. There's all that stress on you, and you've got to remove yourself and get tuned in and go for it. But I think you're right in your earlier comment, you know, about attunement, about, you know, thinking about it and that. But that's our attunement, isn't it? We've got to attune to what the communicator's saying, you know, however it comes vibrationally, or they're showing us images or whatever, or it's giving it to us in thought or whatever, you know.
it is, we constantly change, because I tell you what I was getting recently, which I've never got before, was how long the person had been ill for. Now, it's only a small thing, you might think, but that was something that I'd never had before, and that was actually quite useful. Now, that'll probably fade out a little bit, and then it'll be something else they start giving you, and it's really weird, isn't it? How you change, but we do constantly change.
We do, and I wanted to sort of like say, and I think we've raised some important points here today, Kevin. It is about evolution.
Yeah, very
You know,
much so.
we mediums are evolving, and I've always thought that my journey, my first thoughts of, you know, my first few weeks, you know, going to church and that, it was about evolution. It was about development, not just to be a medium or a healer or anything like that, but it's that self-development, you know,
Yeah,
about universal life, because we're all living universal life, whether we're aware of it or not, we are. You know, and I'm always saying to people, we're eternal now, not just when we pop our clogs. We're experiencing eternal life now through this physical and material world. You know,
very true.
and there is, you know, all these lessons how we can evolve. You know, and sadly, it's usually the hard lessons in life. You know, so people shouldn't run away from these hard lessons. And this may sound corny, but love is the greatest teacher to me. I'm going on now, Kevin. I do apologise, but
No, you're absolutely fine because what you're saying is right. And you know, sometimes you need a jolt in life because unless you get a jolt, you're not going to stop, are you? You need that real, you know, boom, impact. Oh, there's a lovely lady watching, Barbara Ann Winter.
oh,
She's
lovely
a great,
Barbara Ann. Hello, Barbara Ann.
yeah, what a lovely medium she is as well.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. I met her at Cirencester quite a few years ago, 2014, so it'll be about 12 years ago. You know, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think that church is going anymore. I
No, I
don't
heard
think.
it's not going anymore. But that's another thing, because at the time I weren't really doing a lot, and I was working night shifts, and I got this phone call, and I always kept my phone on just in case something was happening with mum and dad, and they needed to get in touch with me or something, all right? So anyway, I come off night shift, I was fast asleep, and the phone rang. So immediately I thought it was mum and dad, and there was a lady from Cirencester Church, and she said, "I don't know how we got your name, but your number was in our mediums book, and we're desperate for a medium on Saturday. Can you do it?" I wasn't really doing a lot at the time. I was only doing a few services a year then, and so I said, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it." And I went there, and it was a misty night, and all the rest of it. And I was panicking because it was a real sort of like proper SNU church, you know what I mean? There's me in my jeans and my collarless shirt. And, you know, and Barbara Ann was there, you know, and that's where I first met Barbara Ann. You know, I even write a blog about that night, to be honest, because they couldn't work out how they got my number. And I can't work out how they got my number. But it just shows you how spirit works sometimes.
Yeah.
They will direct you into the places. It's like I'm always telling people not to have any expectation of spirit about where you would like to be or what you would like to be doing. Just follow the path that they're taking you on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they put people in your way, or you know, that are going to help you, or you're going to help them. One of the things I do, I'm not sure if you're aware, is I for people that want to do platform that haven't necessarily done it before, I will quite often take someone. Obviously, certain churches, not all churches. I will take someone along with me, and I'll just give you a real good example. There was a lady, Charlotte, that I met in Neath. I was doing the service there in Kim Crystal's church, and I was just talking to her before the service. She said, "Oh, I sit in a circle. I do this, I do that, but I've never got up yet to." I said, "Well, pull yourself a chair up." Obviously, I checked it with the lead lady. Of course, I did, and she was, yeah. She said that's fine. So we did the service together, and this young lady, she was equally as good as me. So that was, you know, and I've been doing it for a long time. So now I've started. There's a couple of other churches that we're doing together, and she just did her first church. I think it was last weekend, on her own. And like, how wonderful
Brilliant.
is that? Yeah, because
Yeah, brilliant.
if you haven't done a church, people don't know your name. They won't book you. So it's catch
Yeah.
22. So I do honestly, I try and help people because we need the next generation coming through, don't we? And
Oh,
although
definitely. I'm 100% of that. The way I look at it, Kev, is people gave me a chance, so I give others a chance.
yes,
You know what
exactly
I
that.
mean? If it weren't for sort of like the older established mediums recommending me, I wouldn't have
Yeah,
got anywhere. So I I won't say I'm old and established, right? That's just a little joke, right? But anybody I see that I feel or spirit says, "Oi, help them out," you know, give them a recommendation or have them on a Zoom with you or something, you know, or take them to church or whatever. Yeah, I'll do it. You know, because we need people coming through. Because one day we're going to be in HQ ourselves. So,
Yes.
you know, we need to bring people that can take over from us. You know, and it's like Emma Evans. I mean, she's a beautiful little medium. She don't do churches now, but she wasn't getting booked anywhere. And so I said, because I'd worked with her on Zooms, you know, COVID Zooms and lives. And I said to her, right, I'll recommend you. And she got loads of work, which was brilliant. I'm glad people took my word for it, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
she's a
yeah.
lovely little medium, you know. I'm just looking at a poem that I can read out. Just to end off, I usually read a poem out.
Brilliant.
There's a
Yeah,
particular,
I'd like that.
yeah.
Yeah, please.
There's one I'm particularly looking for. And guess what? I can't blooming find it, as always. But I just hope that, yeah, for our little conversation today, Kev, that people realise that I found it brilliant. People will realise that life is an evolution. It's an evolution of the spirit because spirit is eternal. Once, you know, and we're evolving here and now, no matter what we're doing or where we're doing it. You know, but especially for mediums or anybody that follows a spiritual path, we're very aware of that life evolution. And getting back to your early point, Kev, that you know, if we're having a ropey night or a ropey couple of 3 weeks, it's because we're evolving, we're changing, and all
Yeah.
that the newer you, the newer, more aware you is coming through. You know, but also we have to look after ourselves because I was working when I really shouldn't, you know, because I was knackered. But that's my own little confession. But anyway, I've got this poem here, and see what you think, Kev. Um, and I feel it's about evolution, and I'm glad we got together and spoke today because
Thank you
evolution's
very
so
much.
important. Yeah, I am. I'm really pleased we got together and chatted today. Right, I'm going to read you all a little poem titled Revelation. Divine truth lies naked within the heart, waiting for the mind to awaken. Divine truth, beautiful in all its innocence, a revelation of creation's sacred gifts, to reveal our purpose and vocation. Be still, be quiet, and listen to our divine truth and calling. This life has many paths to walk. Choices lead us away from our true path, leading to misery and heartache. We become lost and disillusioned. There are no ends, only beginnings for the divine truth to reveal itself in our compassionate vision, guiding us to a pathway of service to others, known and or unknown. All hearts are called to serve. Divine truth will light the way. What do you think of that then, Kev?
Yeah, it's everything is there within us, isn't it? It's all. Can I just say one final thing, and that would be, you know, it doesn't matter what you believe, what you do, what you got going on in life. The answer is kindness. Whatever you're
Yes.
doing, you can always find room to include kindness. Whatever religion you are, as long as it teaches you kindness, it's okay. You know, politics, is it kindness? Yes, that's good. If not, it's probably not good. We all should help each other because I think that is our true essence. You know, kindness is what life is about. That is the meaning of life. There you go. You've got it, guys. It's not 42. It's kindness.
That's right, yeah. I write a little poem called Spiritualist, because a lot of churches, don't bring forward spirit guides. You can't have spirit guides. But I wrote in that poem, Spiritualist, that my guides teach me that kindness is empathy, that compassion is love. You know what I mean? And yeah, and that's what we're here to do. And I agree 100%, Kev. You know, we're here to shine with that kindness, with that compassion, and with that love. Anyway, thank you very much, Kevin, for joining me. And thank you all for being here with us today, with me and Kev today. And thank you for your lovely comments. Anyway, have a brilliant Sunday, Kevin. And I'll see you somewhere in the future, okay?
All the best, my friend. All the best.
Yeah, take care now. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.